Hello, I'm Jim Garrett. I'm the Director of Marketing and Product Management for Harman's Luxury Audio Group.
And I'm Kevin Vakes, Manager of Product Development for Harman's Luxury Audio Group.
We're here to introduce the Performa3 series, the latest range of speakers from Revel, makers of the world's finest loudspeakers. The Performa3 range sits comfortably below the top-of-the-line Ultima 2 series and offers a dramatic step up in performance and value over the Concerto series below it. There are 9 models in the family, including 2 floor standers, 2 bookshelves, 2 center channels, 2 subwoofers, and 1 dedicated surround. Each Performa3 model incorporates the results of our latest research, together with Revel's traditional engineering expertise.
We started with all new transducer designs, including low distortion, pistonic motion mid-range drivers, long excursion cast aluminum frame woofers, and aluminum diaphragm tweeters incorporating our latest breakthrough waveguide design. These components are combined with high-end Italian furniture-grade enclosures in a choice of 3 gorgeous high-gloss finishes. Revel's sophisticated next-generation waveguides are one of the Performa3 series features that set them apart from other loudspeakers. Our research has proven the critical importance of the far-off axis sound being very similar to the on-axis sound. While most companies don't measure the far-off axis sound, it is an integral part of the design process. When music sounds real, it's much more enjoyable and a more emotional experience.
We've been using waveguides for quite a while. We've been using simple elliptical waveguides, which have served us well. However, it may cause some trade-offs in design that don't necessarily need to be there. And so new waveguide geometry was created, which is implemented in the new Revel waveguide, which allows us to control both horizontal vertical coverage and horizontal vertical pattern control frequency. They're going to notice a very smooth, natural sound, a sense of space and envelopment.
Revel Performa3 loudspeakers utilize the results of our latest research to reduce audible distortion. This includes optimized motors based on sophisticated modeling and analysis systems. These drivers utilize techniques to keep the distortion exceedingly low even during long excursions. The result of all of our efforts to reduce distortion below audibility is the sonic equivalent of cleaning a dirty window. The detail and clarity of these speakers is really something to hear.
By using CAD models and FEA analysis, we're allowed to basically simulate many different designs and modify them in the computer before we actually have to, create the part or tool the part to generate a prototype or production part. So it saves a lot of money and time.
We actually build the prototype after simulation and use this machine to verify the performance of the prototype. We use it right after the computer simulation or finite element analysis. It's actually very cost-effective engineering.
What this analyzer does here, this clip-hole distortion analyzer, is it actually breaks down the distortion elements of the driver into the primary parts. We measure the driver and determine what's actually creating the distortion, so we know what to fix. That way you're not addressing something that's not causing the problem.
When we did our room survey, we talked about this idea of a direct sound, early reflections, and later arrivals. Well, those are the 3 things we hear in a room, so those are the 3 things we want to measure. So we measure the loudspeaker at 70 points around the speaker, and then we take a series of averages, and each one of those averages represents those 3 things you hear in a room. With the 10 years of experience we now have with these kind of loudspeaker response measurements, we've been able to move loudspeaker design forward. So where other companies might optimize the response on just a single axis and then get a decent frequency response on another axis, we optimize the response over the entire sphere of the loudspeaker.
We have a number of innovations here in our loudspeaker drivers. If you look at the magnetic structure, there is a copper cap. And the purpose of this copper cap is to lower distortion in the mid-range. And in the 8-inch woofer in the Performa, it's a little hard to see, but we have a different type of distortion lowering mechanism. And this too shorts out the modulation, the flux modulation. And the distortion is greatly reduced in the low frequency band. Also, a new introduction in our Performa 3 is, as you noticed, that we have indents in the woofer, and this improves the performance at higher frequencies, minimizing cone breakup. So the loudspeaker is able to perform better out of its band, which is important to get the crossover response correct.
The beautiful Revel Performa3 enclosures feature modern proportions, curved side panels, and high-gloss finishes, handcrafted under the supervision of high-end Italian furniture makers. The F206 and F208 have completely curved cabinets made of contiguous layers of wood, similar to our flagship Ultima 2 series. This type of construction results in exceptional rigidity and remarkable freedom from cabinet-induced coloration.
All Revel Performa3 loudspeakers use high-order crossovers, which greatly reduce distortion and dynamic compression, while optimizing timbre, which is the most important sonic characteristic of a loudspeaker. The result is remarkably clean sound and the most accurate spectral balance, which remains consistent over an extremely wide dynamic range.
Here's an example of the crossover. This is the crossover from the center channel, the C208, where you see we use polypropylene capacitors where needed, which is in the tweeter signal path. We use air core inductors where needed, and then we also have steel laminated inductors that can have very, very high saturation points, that they don't saturate till very, very high current. And electrolytic capacitors are very low dissipation factor. I can't emphasize how important the crossover is because it shapes the frequency response of the loudspeaker. The smooth responses we get in our spins is primarily from the properly designed crossovers.
This is our listening lab, which is arguably the most important resource we have, in that it's the only way that allows you to do a valid comparison between two loudspeakers. The position that a loudspeaker is within a room greatly influences performance, and if they're sitting right next to each other, they'll still influence each other so much that it's an invalid comparison. Then we add to that the problem that our physical aural memory is very, very brief, so you need to switch between the loudspeakers very, very quickly. So where does that lead us but needing to have the ability to mechanically switch between loudspeakers in only a matter of seconds? And we've spent nearly $500,000 on the only facility of this type that allows us to do just that, where it's completely position independent speaker comparisons. Then the next step is that it's double blind. So no one in the listening test is aware of the speakers that they're listening to, and they're identified only by letter names, so that it's a completely valid comparison of how loudspeakers stack up purely sonically.
The products in the Revel Performa3 series can be configured into a variety of system solutions. For small 2-channel applications, either the M105 or M106 bookshelf speaker is the ideal solution. For larger rooms, you could step up to the F206 or F208 floor standard. For small home theater systems, you can configure a system around the bookshelf models using either the M106 or M105 as the main, in combination with the C205 center channel and an additional pair of M105 bookshelves for the rear surrounds. This system will be complemented by using the B110 subwoofer. For medium systems, use the F206 floor standing speaker in conjunction with the C205 center channel and the S206 bipolar surround speaker, and either one or two of the B110 or B112 subwoofers. For larger home theater systems, a system based around the F208 floor standing loudspeaker in conjunction with the C208 center channel and the S206 surround would be the ideal solution. In this application, using multiple B112 subwoofers would provide the ideal 7.2 channel configuration.
As you can see, we've utilized decades of Harman's research and extensive engineering resources, as well as exhaustive benchmarking and critical listening to create the best performing loudspeakers anywhere near their price range.
Whether 2-channel stereo or multi-channel home theater, Revel's Performa3 series offers unbeatable performance. We invite you to audition these exciting new products at your local dealer beginning this December.